What's up, everybody? It's your boy Shane G. We are back with another episode of Politics as Usual, right here on the Ethos Media Network. Make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe for all the latest content. Um, what we're gonna do right here today, we're just gonna react to a conversation that happened on Bill Burr's podcast. Definitely check that out. But I just found it very interesting because of a few things that he says, where he basically makes it known that he doesn't really follow politics or anything like that. But even he can see what's going on. So this is basically me showing that average Americans who don't necessarily even follow ticks, but they just pay attention to what's going on, they see what it is. So let's react to it together, y'all, shall we? Let's bring this up right here. I'm going to go in the corner. Bam. All right. What's Bill got to say?
Right. Haven't you heard? Haven't heard you mention the Ohio train derailment? Oh, that's because I don't watch the news.
So you see, he says he doesn't watch the news, so he's not even really aware of what's going on in Ohio right now. For those of you who don't know, basically there has been a large train derailment. I don't know how you couldn't know right now, but basically they blew up this part of the train. They're going to explain it, but basically the authorities did this. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's facing any consequences for it. It was dumb, yeah. But here you go.
The news. I saw a little bit of that. Yeah, there was chemicals and stuff, right? The effects have been cast in former administration has made it impossible for money and attention to fix our infrastructure problems. Well, that's weird because that would create jobs. It would make whoever was in office look good, right? Anyway, there was a railway strike happened a few months ago, but Grandpa Joe crushed the strike because no one gives a fun nationally about overworked railroad workers. It seemed cliche, but $100 billion in blank checks to fight a proxy war in the Ukraine, but they didn't bother to send any help for cleanup to our own citizens. Sir, just out of curiosity.
That's what the person who wrote to Bill Burr said. And I 100% agree with that. We're sending all this money to Ukraine. We've been sending all this money to Israel for years and years and years. And what's happening here? There was a train derailment in Ohio. I believe I heard that there was another one that took place in Texas as well. Flint, over 10 years, or close to 10 years, something like that. Water still not fixed. Um, there's all these issues going on in the country. Like they said, crumbling infrastructure. The bridges are falling apart. There's dirty water in multiple cities. But we have all this money to send overseas. And then whenever we ask for things here, they always say, oh, well, how are we going to pay for that? I don't know, maybe with some of those billions that we've been sending to Ukraine and Israel all this time.
When they send that money over there to the Ukraine and all of that, like the Ukraine has to pay us back. We don't just fucking give them the money.
That's not
We're
true.
getting them in debt to us, and then they have to pay us back, and the corporations get paid and all of that shit. It's that confessions of an economic hitman bullshit. But if you notice here, Hurricane Katrina, they just let those people fucking drown. They didn't give a fuck. There was no fresh water. Down in Mississippi, no fresh water. Go fuck yourself. You guys out there with your, dealing with chemicals, go fuck yourselves and fuck all your future health problems. They don't give a shit. And all they do is act like.
And real quick before I let this continue, because again, 100% correct. Going back to a previous point, where the railroad workers, I always have an issue saying that. The railroad workers, they attempted to strike. Congress blocked it. The Democrats specifically blocked it. So the pro-worker, pro-union party, Joe Biden said that he was the most pro union and pro worker president ever, I believe, is what he said about himself. So if make it make sense, and then this happens. You know, the railroad workers are not able to take a sick day unless they request it 30 days in advance. Did you know that they work 6 days a week? In some cases, seven? Were you aware of any of that? Okay, let's continue.
Money, their best interest to give a fuck about you. It's financially in their best interest to serve super, super fucking rich people. And that's what they do. All right? On both sides. So anyway, the water is unsafe to drink, but officials are saying it's fine. There was a mushroom cloud of black smoke over the wreck after they intentionally detonated the chemicals to expedite the clearing of the railway to allow trains to keep running. It was a stupid and careless decision. To top it all off, there are bitches on TV saying that because Ohio had leaned, as you would say, towards Trump, that we deserve what was coming. Please tell me nobody
I
said
see
that.
things like that a lot, actually. Now, when people make that argument of, oh, well, you voted for Republicans, so therefore you deserve whatever bad things that that Republican does to you, flip that logic. California has, if not the highest population of homeless people, one of the highest populations of homeless people. I believe it's the highest in the country. Completely Democratic run big cities, Democratic state legislature, all of that stuff. So could a Republican then say, well, you've always voted for Democrats, so all those homeless people, that's on you, that's what you get? That doesn't make sense, right? I'm just saying. Michigan, again, Flint, Democrat city. The governor at the time when the water was dirty was a Republican. I'm pretty sure that Flint didn't vote for the Republican. So would you say that it's Flint's own fault because there was a Republican in charge that they have dirty water now? No. What it is that people, they want to believe in a message, and whoever is better at lying to the people through the media, through the, you know what I mean, like through, various forms of propaganda. Again, of course, everybody participates in this, right, left, center, whatever you consider yourself. Um, but isn't that the issue? You know what I mean? Like it's more so that the politicians lie to us in ways that make us think they're going to make the country and ultimately our lives better, when in reality, like Bill Burr said right here, both sides serve the same donors. They're all a bunch of millionaires who serve a bunch of billionaires. That's what, not even a bunch of billionaires, a few billionaires basically control a whole bunch of millionaires that then lie to us through the media, et cetera, et cetera.
All right. But what this is going to affect is an expense in who they are, regardless of the color of tie that they wear. And Fox News and CNN doesn't give a fuck other than blaming one side for the problem. But they don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about, all they give a shit about is ratings because that's their money. So that attention to politics. I don't do any of that stuff because it was bad enough when I was a kid, but to now watch people on the internet buying into it and losing and actually saying something horrible like that, well, you've so basically you should die of carcinogens, including your children, is beyond fucked up. And equally beyond fucked up is watching individuals on social media become their own version of CNN and Fox News, where they edit, where they start telling the story and how they're spinning shit to fit with their political ideology.
So what he's talking about there, obviously, is deceptive clips that people put up to basically spin a narrative where, okay, this person said this, but let's take it either way out of context or they said it in clearly a joking manner if you watch the full clip, or it was sarcasm, or you know what I mean, like different things like that. And then they'll put it up and pretend like, see, this is really what this person thinks, or this is what they're really saying. You know what I mean? They do a lot of that, but deceptive editing, basically. We know that mainstream media does that, so he was basically saying how it's disheartening to see that on social media now, where it's individuals doing it. So I'm with him on that. But yeah, man, what the thing that basically struck me about this video, and the reason I wanted to share it, is because it definitely seems that, again, Bill Burr says he doesn't really follow politics. He's not really, super informed about every little bill that's passed and every congressperson and all this kind of stuff. But he just looks at the landscape of what's going on and he sees, oh, they don't care about us. More and more people are reaching that conclusion. So that actually, in a sad way, but it does, it makes me happy in a way, just because it means that more people are realizing that Republicans and Democrats don't have anyone's back other than those billionaires that they serve. There's a few here and there scattered in each party that every now and then do something principled. But for the most part, everybody falls in line with whatever the head honchos and the top dogs want. Whoever is paying for their campaigns is who they end up doing the bidding of. Whoever is, the top person who's able to collect the most money and then spread it out to the candidates, lower in Congress or lower in government, that's usually the person that everybody listens to. That's why you see the squad acquiescing all the time to Nancy Pelosi, because Nancy Pelosi is the biggest fundraiser for the Democrats. So she's the one who spreads all the money around when it's campaign season. If you want some of that money, you better do what Nancy Pelosi says. It's the same thing on the Republican side with Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell gets the most donor dollars. You know what I'm saying? So all the Republicans fall in line with what he wants to do. That's why it works the way it does. And Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell are the same person. It's just that one's a woman, one's a man. One virtue signals in public a little bit more to minorities than the other. That's really it. They all vote for war. They all vote for tax cuts. They all vote for, against social programs. They all refuse to, do things that would actually fix the country, like Medicare for all and things of this nature, right? Like they're all on the same side when it comes to those issues. Now, the degree of privatization may differ. We want it private, but, these rules should be in place versus these rules. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, if you're playing on a 100-yard field, like the Democrats and Republicans, like their strategy is all like, you know what I mean? Like there's not much difference. Like if you start at the 50-yard line, and let's say that's the center, right? Well, because it literally is the center, but let's do it politically. Let's say that's the center of politics, right? The Democrats are only maybe at the 45 going way, and the Republicans are like maybe at the 50 going, or the 45 going the other way. Like that's really the biggest amount of difference between the two parties. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the voters, their concerns stretch all the way out to the goalposts. You get what I'm saying? Hopefully that was a good enough analogy. I tried to think of that off the top of my head, but I think y'all know what I'm trying to say. So ultimately, Bill Burr's right. Average Americans who don't pay attention to politics like that, they're starting to catch on to what's going on. That makes me happy because then it makes me feel like, okay, maybe we can actually do something about this. So, y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. This has been Shane G. This has Politics as Usual right here on the Ethos Media Network. Again, make sure you like, you share, you subscribe. Drop a comment as well. If you disagree with what I'm saying, please drop a comment. If you agree with what I'm saying, please drop a comment. I like sparking debate in the comments. So that's it, man. I appreciate y'all, and I'll catch y'all next Saturday on Politics as Usual. Peace.